Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new Ike Live. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. I know we are. We're having a good time. I'm sitting next to two of the amazing anglers on the Bass Trail right now. Got Lee and I got Caleb next to me. Guys, thank you for coming in.
Yep, thank you.
Great having you. I want to, instead of just jumping right to you, Lee, I do want to talk about something. We've already hit on it. But you guys work together really, really good.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because on the MLF trail, they're like anti-working together. Like,
right.
Yeah.
I think they've changed the rules a little bit recently, but in the beginning, dude, I roomed with Ish a little bit fishing over there.
Couldn't even talk to him.
Dude, it was the most awkward thing.
That's
you know what
gotta
I
be
mean?
so tough.
Dude, you're sitting in a room, you're both fish heads,
Can't talk fishing.
and we can't talk fishing.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can't talk about, you know, hey, man, caught this big 5-pounder. Can't talk about that. Can't talk about
Yeah, that's tough.
that sucked.
Anything.
That's
that
tough.
sucked. But you guys have a great working relationship.
Yep.
Talk a little bit more about that. Lee, talk about
Well,
that.
it's we're not just a lot of people think they're just giving each other waypoints
No.
and everything.
Yeah.
That's not how it goes.
Never.
Down, Sometimes,
Never.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Sometimes it is.
Okay.
And a lot of it's hey, if he shows up and says, "Hey, dude, third day of practice, I ain't caught a bass."
Yeah.
Guess what? I'm gonna say, "Hey, go here. You're gonna survive," kind of
Right.
deal.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we talked about, and that's happened a couple times on both of our sides.
Right.
Not just him, me too. So a lot of it's just we'll call each other whatever it is, an hour in, 5 hours in, whatever it is, and say, "Hey, man, I caught one on a buzz bait on a cypress tree," or "Hey, I caught one on the incoming tide," in a canal, not in the pond, or stuff like that. Just like the Sabine.
Yep.
We
That
ended
was-
up literally like fishing each other's water almost.
Right.
Some of it,
Yeah.
like we both had areas that we did good in. Like I was fishing Taylor's and he was fishing the Natchez. And we both kind of said, "Hey, man, I caught him here in the Natchez. I was here at, like, I caught some fish in a pond in the Natchez that I
Right.
could just kind of barely get in through a canal that was sketchy to get into. Went in there, boom, 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 boom. But I was in there like high tide, I think, maybe. Or
And you caught nothing else the rest of the day in the whole Natchez, basically.
yeah, I said, "Hey, man, you need to go check this out in the morning," because he was going to the Natchez the next morning to just see what the deal is. He
Yeah.
went in there, boom, boom, boom. Well, guess what? He goes in there, same thing. Hey, they're in here. Well, I ended up going a different way to Taylor's. I had groups of fish over there. He ended up using 2 of his groups of fish, too, that he gives me. But he took what I told him and what he'd found and turned it into the fish had moved into the canal. He can tell you more about it.
Yeah.
Like the fish had moved or he couldn't catch it. His tide was different, whatever. And he turned it into his own deal, So a lot of it's stuff like that,
Yeah.
Some of it we share exact spots. Some of it we just say, "Hey, man,
Yeah. Give me a
This is
percentage.
happening.
How many times has working together helped, and how many times has it hurt? Because I say that from experience. Because when I traveled with John Cruz and Ish, we had the same exact thing you're talking about. We would share generals. We would talk about
Generals, yeah.
pattern. Like, hey, this area, this
No,
is going
we're
on.
hardcore.
But it's hurt me before.
We're
It's-
hardcore on confidence. We go the opposite ways 99% of the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We hardly ever see each other. If we see each other in the water,
Yeah.
Somebody
We're like-
ran out of gas.
like, seriously, we got to move. Like, we're not covering enough
no,
water.
Right.
it's we're not covering, like we're usually 100 miles apart or, doing something totally different.
Right.
But we're confident enough to tell each other this is
Exactly.
going down,
Yeah.
So it sounds like we're actually giving each other, we're fishing. We're
We're
never
not.
fishing the same stuff ever.
Yeah.
There's a few times where, "Hey, man, you're fishing over there. You need to hit this kind of deal."
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. Yeah.
It's
'Cause-
really laid back. Like, dude, like he said, dude, people think we're like, have you ever given a waypoint? Have I ever given
We
you
probably have, but it's nothing that's ever like paid off.
It's not
you
like
know?
that, dude.
Right.
It's a pattern deal, just
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah. It's hurt me before, though.
It's.
you know?
I don't think it's.
It's hurt me because I
We
like,
both had bad events
I mean,
together.
I'll give you some
Yeah,
specifics.
usually when we're sucking, we just suck.
Yeah, no, I'll give you some specifics because, like, I'd be rooming with Ish or whatever, and he'd be like, every day he comes in from practice, he's catching them, so
Right.
I'd come back in from practice and like, man, I didn't get shit today. Like, what's going on? Oh, man, come on. They're biting a frog. They're biting a frog. You got to find this kind of bank.
Right.
And then
I feel like that's me and you every time.
I would spend.
Absolutely.
Every time Caleb's like, "Oh my God, I caught 45 pounds before noon." I'm like, "All
Right.
right, caught a fish."
Right. But then the problem is, right, then I'm chasing Ish's fish, though, right? It's
Yes,
like
I'm with
he
you
would,
on that.
He would say, hey, they're hitting a frog on this kind of bank. Then I would spend the next practice day doing that.
The whole day. Yeah.
And it drew me away from maybe
Finding
doing
your
something
deal.
else.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So there are times when
Yeah.
it
Oh,
could mess
no
with
doubt
you.
about
But
that.
you guys do it well. I think you got a good
Yeah.
working relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked really good this year.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did.
If next year you guys both have shitty seasons, will you divorce each other?
Yeah, probably. just like Pickwick. He could catch him behind the dam at Pickwick in that current.
Yeah.
And I tried every day.
Yeah.
Every single day he
Every
was
single
going.
day I
Caleb,
went up
you
to
had a
that
unique
dam
strategy
and I
behind that
tried
game,
and I
didn't
could not catch them.
Wow.
and he just said, "No, man, just stay up here. You know it's going to happen. I'm catching." I said, "Dude, no, I can't catch him up here."
I knew there was donks there.
Whoa, gone that way. You know, so you got to know when to tell them no.
Yeah.
Lee, did you try throwing an anchor up there?
Oh God, I hate you.
You know about that?
Did that work, Lee?
This is another story that I have to tell.
Yeah.
I can't let anybody mess this
An
up.
anchor.
Your cameraman can tell it. He almost died.
Nobody almost died.
Are you kidding me?
I
Like
didn't tie it
A
off.
physical anchor?
No doubt.
35 pounds.
Like old school? Like was it
J2.
a claw?
All right.
No,
so
it's brand.
they're rolling 200,000.
Mushroom anchor or claw?
Mushroom
anchor?
anchor,
The
not like a
mushroom.
claw.
Okay.
Yeah,
one-
like,
the
like
one
this
that-
is one that's gonna like come free,
Okay.
but it's a heavy one.
I thought I had a 3-claw.
Yeah,
It
like
might
the
have been a
tattoo.
3-claw.
It was a
Says
3-claw.
mom.
It was a
3-claw?
three-claw.
It was a 25-pound
Oh,
3-claw.
shit.
But wait.
It was a
25
3-claw.
25-pound 3-claw we bought
Hang
at
on.
Walmart.
I gotta set the mood on this.
I told him to buy 2 of them.
old
So the rain's
3-claw.
coming. The rain's coming.
Tornado.
The rain's coming.
Tornado.
It's the last day of practice. They open up 2 gates. I watch them. I said, Lee, you might want to get up here, dude. They just opened up gates and the water started rolling. Had 2 big bites right off the bat. I'm like, probably where I'm going to be. I already knew where I was going to kind of be.
Yeah.
This guy will be. Anyway, long story short, catching half-ass decent day 1. Day 2, I bomb a swim bait in the white stuff. Like I'm as far as my trolling motor will get me in the white rapids, bomb a chartreuse swim bait in there, 4-pound smallmouth. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get closer. It's like they are where there's the mother load right there, and I just can't get to them.
Yeah.
So man, I'm like, my wheels are turning. I'm like, my trolling motor's on 10, and I'm just like, man, if I just had an anchor I could just throw out and just, I'll catch them.
Catch him.
I love this shit.
My exact words were,
You better buy 2. That's all you said. Don't even say anything
I said,
different.
you're going to die.
No, you never said that. You never said that.
Billion%. I
You
said you're
never
gonna die.
said
Wait,
that
you're
one
gonna
time.
you're gonna buy 2 or you're gonna die? 'Cause
He
they're
said,
two
he
different
of
said
them.
you better buy 2 anchors. That was it. That's all he ever said. I'll never.
He just grabbed one. I said, you're probably going to want to buy 2 of those.
Oh my God!
So you got to realize in Louisiana, we've never thrown an anchor in current.
You don't need to anchor. Everything's 2 foot.
Exactly.
I did tell him he was going to die.
Nope, you never said it. I will never let
thought
you-
it.
I will never give you that one. You
100%
never said it.
Hundo.
Like, dude, we're about to blast off that morning. I got it in my mind, dude. I'm tying up about a 35-foot rope on the anchor, put it in that back box, and I told my camera guy, Brian, I'm like,
Brian,
Should have known right there, bro.
Brian, bro, dude, Brian's like, I'm down, bro. Let's
Uh-huh.
get it.
Brian's
And he
always
was
down, but
roll dog. Like,
wow.
so I go fish some stuff, but dude, like the whole morning, I'm like talking myself into this. Like, that water is whitewater rapids coming over
Oh,
the stand.
yeah.
Dude. I'm
Like bad.
like, very bad.
Yeah.
Like you can't hear hardly. It was very loud.
Right.
Bad.
And I'm like, man. And he goes, so when we doing this anchor stuff, I'm like, God, dog, you didn't talk me into it. Ripped my trolling motor, took all my rods, I put them on one side, put the anchor on the front side. And I'm like, all right. I get up there, and I'm like doing like 6 or 7, and I'm just holding still in one spot
Whoa, with the outboard.
with the outboard.
Whoa.
I'm like, this may or may not be a good idea, but I'm too committed now. So I get up there on the front deck, kill my engine, jump up on the front deck, and instead of throwing it out there like I probably should have, I drop it straight down. Okay? So what happens is I got to let some line out
yeah,
for my boat, for the anchor to catch.
get that steam.
I should have threw it, all right? That's where I knew I messed up. It starts ticking the bottom, and before I realize it, my boat's going 5 mile an hour backwards already.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, God. Bouncing on the bottom, and then it bites. And it's not tied off or nothing, but shit, the rope's in my hand.
Thank God.
Thank God it
was
wasn't
not
tied
tied
off.
We had a DT 21. Whatever your boat is, 21 Express.
DT.
DT 21.
Dip the nose.
A DT-21.
Dude, that thing bit. When that thing bit, there was no man on this earth that could have held that. That went, and I just stood up. Brian was like, "What happened?" Nothing. Started my engine, rode off the next spot.
Wow.
Still got the burn marks on your
Yeah, I
hand?
was just saying,
Oh, I about ripped my finger off.
yeah.
Like
That's
seriously, took
crazy.
my knuckle off my finger. It was
Dude, how many anchors?
But, dude-
how many 25-pound claw anchors you think are up there
A
with
lot.
dudes that did the same thing?
a lot.
God.
Dude, if I would have never caught, dude, I'm telling you, I was as far as I could go, and I bombed that that sharpshooter swim bait back in the whites. I don't even know how that fish saw it. I had to, seriously, straight up, just hit him in the head, and I'm like, I gotta get closer. There's
man.
a mega school up there because I caught him in the blowhole in practice,
Yeah.
and then there was no blowhole that you could get to.
Yeah.
So like,
Might go back to Pickwick one day.
don't drop an anchor in the rapids.
Don't try. That's the story. Oh my God, I love it.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that.
That was a
That's
great
Lee. That was
story.
you. You did that.
No,
No.
I think your cameraman told him or something.
No. No.
It was
I already know
Brian.
better.
Brian chimed in on the IM and gave
Yeah.
us that one.
Yeah, B2.
Lee, I want to corner you on something, which is you've had the uncanny ability to close big wins. You got to talk about that on here because we've got a lot of people watching this want to learn how to close big tournaments, right? And that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing to do, dude.
Very hard.
I've been
dude.
in that position a lot where you're sniffing on that last day and you can't close. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do.
Very.
You're really good at doing it. Talk about that because I want to hear it. A lot of people want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a certain thing I can tell them. You know,
Yeah.
that's just a confidence deal, and whether it's timing or like Polnick says, you know, it's something you can't stop.
Yeah.
That's what he told me the day before. Like, it was different at Chick. Like, Chick, I felt it.
Yeah.
Like a feeling I never felt. And I've been all over the top 10 multiple times and one fish away from winning, one bite away, just like Caleb. And just, I had a different feeling that tournament, like 100% honest. Like, I knew, the second day I knew I was going to win. I was telling everybody, and I never telling you. I was like, this one's different. Feel like I'm going to win it, you know, and it just, whether it was, I don't know. That's a hard one to say. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a confidence thing on my end, 100% confidence deal,
Yeah.
and keeping the right baits in your hand to win. You
right.
know,
Baits that you have confidence in.
Right,
Like the utmost
right,
confidence. in.
right.
Yeah.
Even and I want to bring Patrick Walters into this because he has one, and he is going to be one of the best fishermen ever at the end of his career.
Yeah.
But I saw Patrick, you know, after our fork event this year that I won, he was doing the same deal I was. Big topwater, big glide baits and stuff. But I saw the live coverage afterwards about, you know, halfway through the day, kind of when I switched areas, we were in this kind of same area. I saw him like kind of live scoping around some docks and skipping a wacky worm. It's not the deal.
Yeah.
You know, you might get lucky and catch an 8-pounder. And I'm not talking about Patrick, you know, bad
Yeah.
at all. He'll agree with that. Like when I saw that, I said, okay, Patrick wasn't confident enough to keep throwing that top water and that swim bait the rest of the day looking for that one or two bites
Right.
because he just didn't know, you know, that wasn't his Santee Cooper or whatever clicked in his mind.
Right.
So I think a lot of it's just being confident and keeping the right baits in your hand.
Yeah.
Just like I did the frog at Chickamauga, never put it down.
Yeah.
I didn't go throw a jig on a bluff. I didn't
Yeah.
go throw a topwater or a fluke or whatever. I knew I was going to get bit by the right fish eventually, and
Yeah.
I did. You know, you're going to get that one bite, whether they stay on or not. You know, that's Polnick's destiny. He talks about, you know, and it's a confidence deal for sure.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to talk about. Some anglers have that their whole life. Guys like Wheeler, dude, he's won
Close.
since he was 18.
Yeah.
Just
Close.
I don't have that. I didn't have it, but it's getting there. You
Yeah.
know, in my head, and that's the confidence. You know. So it's something that kind of evolves, whether it's mental or whatever. I don't know.
Well, you
know?
definitely have the confidence. You can see the confidence.
Yeah.
And Riz, I'll put you on the spot about this. Confidence is an important thing when you're fishing. How has Lake Fork, how has all that stuff built your confidence level?
It's made me very malleable, not just as an angler, but as a person too,
Yeah.
with sponsors, top to bottom, everything. But
Right.
it's taught me, you know, hey, You know, if this ain't working, go do this. You know, if that ain't working, go do that. You know, you're going to catch them, dude. Just keep what you want in your hand and do the right thing.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen at the end of the day, who cares? You know?
Right.
And it's just kind of just like Champlain. I made the wrong decision there in our we both top 10 the other day at Champlain 3 weeks ago. And I went and did some stupid shit.
That's what I asked myself.
I did too.
Like tried to pull some King Kong stuff. I'm gonna go where I've never been. You know.
That's one of the first things goes through my head. Like if I'm not catching, I'm like, am I doing dumb shit or am I just not getting
I was
bites?
doing dumb shit that day. You know.
Throw a mag draft.
Yeah.
No,
Could be
didn't throw
throwing a
mag
mag
draft,
draft in muddy water.
Didn't throw mag draft, Brian.
Carolina rig a mag draft.
Yeah.
This might be a great segue, though. Speaking of confidence,
Yeah.
because it's a hard thing for a lot of anglers. Even for me, all these years doing it, I still have days where I don't have confidence in my fishing and what I'm doing.
I'm with you on that.
Amazing.
But what I saw this year from this guy coming on was the utmost confidence in everything he did every day. And I want to welcome him on Ike Live, the reigning Angler of the Year. Man, that never gets old saying that.
Right.
Reigning BASS Angler of the Year, Seth Fighter.
Yeah.
On Ike Live. Seth!
What's up, boys?
How you doing tonight?
Doing good.
All right, listen, first of all, we need to catch up. Where you at? What you been up to? Talk to me.
I'm at home in the basement now. Had a really big party last night at the local bar.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
VFW.
Pretty rough day. It's called the Double Wide. It's literally
Oh, that's even
better.
trailer. Yeah.
Even better.
It's the spot. Yeah. There's a lot of cars there this morning when I went and got my truck.
That's awesome.
Started up pretty good. I think we got to bed about 4:30, and I'm feeling it now. But it was fun. Got all the boys together, all the guys I grew up, fishing team tournaments against and stuff, and we got together at the bar and had a party. Did some shots out of the trophy, and it was a
Yeah.
good time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Congrats.
Oh, yeah.
That
Thank you.
almost is more worth it than anything. The ability to share the win with your buddies, right? To celebrate with your friends.
For
That's a
sure.
great thing.
We weren't there, but we were up with you, man.
Yeah, we were all up with you.
Sharking.
We were up sharking.
Oh,
Seth, I want to put you on the spot with something. I've talked to several people, including Ken Duke, he's the would you say he's the most knowledgeable guy, Brian, in bass fishing and all bass fishing? He is, right?
Indubitably.
Undoubtedly.
Undoubtedly.
And from talking to everybody, the word is that this is the best season that anyone's ever had in modern BASS fishing times. That's got to feel good. That's got to feel good. And it really is. Like, for me watching it, I got to sit out this year and watch it. I think you did have the best bass fishing season in modern times. How does it feel? I mean, has it soaked in yet? Because that's a hard thing to swallow. It's a hard thing to say. Look back and say, "Holy shit, I did! I had one of the best bass fishing seasons in history in modern times." That's amazing. Has it sunk in?
Not quite, I don't think. The AOI starting to, but the rest of it, not so much yet. It took a while, It doesn't hit you right away. It was really till I was driving home from St. Lawrence that it really started to sink in,
Yeah.
and that's something that just kind of keeps dripping in as time goes on.
Yeah. Well, right before you came on, Seth, we were talking about confidence, and for me, getting to watch you this year and see you each tournament, I saw confidence. I saw a lot of confidence in what you were doing. Tell us about that, because we heard from Lee about it. I want to hear it from you. How did you get to that point where you felt like everything you were doing was right, every bait you were picking up was right? How did you get to that point?
That's just from the beginning as soon as you start fishing, just built up over the years and stuff. And I used to suck down south, and I was always questioning, what I was doing, and I have to refish through areas with different baits just because I didn't know what, I wasn't confident that I was covering the water right. You know what I mean? And now I'm starting to get a lot more confident down south. Not quite to the point like when we go to a Champlain or something like that, but definitely a lot better. I know I used to try to complicate it too much and oh, this is a bait I got to throw. This is what all the locals catch them on, you know. And it's like, I realistically, there's a dozen baits I throw that I feel good about. I'm confident in, and I know they'll catch bass down south, and just kind of fish the thing I noticed most about this year is like I fished how I wanted to fish every single event versus, you know,
Yeah.
doing what should be the deal on paper. You know, you look at a certain tournament in a certain place at a certain date, and you're like, oh, it's going to be, you know, like Gunnersville, for example, that should have been a full-on ledge tournament.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no doubt. Big
Yeah.
crank, spoons, swim baits, all that crap. I get there the first hour or two I'm there. So I noticed there was quite a bit more milfoil than I'd ever seen in the lake. Picked up a flipping stick, and it wasn't my best finish, but I had a good finish. I got flipped grass the entire time instead of, you know, chasing around beat up ledge schools with a drop shot or a net
Yeah.
rig or spoon or however you could catch a couple of them out of it. I got to fish all by myself, you know, didn't see another boat, had all my areas to myself and fished exactly how I wanted to versus, you know, playing musical chairs on, you know, half a dozen ledge spots hoping they fire when you get there, you know.
Yeah. What the thing I'm curious about, Seth, and we talked earlier with Caleb about it, is I got to watch you from the beginning, from your rookie season. I got to watch you on the water through media events with Rapala. I've got to watch you in this evolution. We call it the evolution of Seth, right? How did you get to this point? Because we've got, dude, a lot of young anglers are watching this. They're going to watch it. They're watching it live. They're going to watch the replay, and they're saying, holy shit, I want to be this guy. They want to be you. How did you get to that point? Because your early career in bass, you weren't making those same decisions. You didn't have that same confidence. How did you get to this point?
I think a lot of it's just time on the water, being a lot more comfortable,
Yeah.
you know. I
Yeah.
started out, it's super intimidating, you know.
Right.
I'm just a little bass bum from Minnesota. You make it through the opens, and then, you know, you pull up to your first blast off, and you're there, Hackney's there, Kevin Van Dam's on one side. It's like, holy shit.
Yep.
Like, these guys are the best in the world. And like, you know, that confidence kind of just, you know, the first two seasons sucked for sure. And then at the end of it, I had that little spark, and ever since then, confidence been up, and then just a lot of time on the water down south, you know, all those reservoirs, tidal rivers and all that stuff. It's
Yeah.
like, we don't have that around the house, so it's all new to me. And, you know, the more time I spend down there and fish it, I get a little more confident, and then, you know, also getting more confident in my abilities and setting really high goals, you know.
Yeah.
I know Polnick talked about it that one year he won Angler of the Year. I know it's super unrealistic, but his goal was to win every tournament that year.
Right.
And my goal had always been to win a tournament, you
Yeah.
know, or before that, the first couple of years, it was to get 50th place, you know, get you a
Right.
10 grand check. That was the goal. And now this year I said, I knew it was, you know, never going to happen and unrealistic, but my goal this year was to win 3 tournaments. Obviously we didn't win any, but it's, you know, shoot for the star or shoot for the moon, aim for the moon, land in the stars kind of deal. You know, you're never going to hit right where you aim, but you know, just setting unobtainable, you know, goals that seem astronomical and crazy, and trying to do that, and then you end up doing something really good. You know?
Yeah. And I'm curious, this is a question for me. Has the way you approached practice changed as your career has evolved? And
Yeah,
if it
absolutely.
has, tell us about how it's changed.
A ton. Like I used to like want to see like the entire lake. You know, really, and it really just gets you in trouble in practice because, you know, you spend one day on the upper end, one day in the middle, one day on the bottom, and then it's like you got a couple good spots on the upper end, a couple good spots in the middle, a couple at the bottom, and then it's like you're gonna spend half your day running trying to fish all that stuff. And now I kind of just pick a section of the lake I think fits me the best. And really, now I spend like all 3 days of my practice kind of in you know, a third or a half or a quarter of the lake, whatever it may be, just to try to, you know, I want like 20 good spots I can fish in one day, or
Right.
maybe not good spots, but I had a bite here or something, you know, that looked good. I'd go through that again kind of deal. And then also like not getting bit doesn't bother me near as much as it used to. Like I And looking back, like a couple of the tournaments where I've had like the best practices where it's like I'm gonna smash them end up being really bad tournaments. And a lot of the tournaments that I've had really good results at, I've had pretty mediocre practices, you know, a couple bites in one area, like it's kind of all I got. I'm going to stay in there all day and make it work. And, you know, like learning the areas during the tournament more so than like really trying to like practice everything in an area. You know, if you go on like one little creek arm and you flip every lay down, every dock, and you really get stuck into what happened in practice. You know what I mean? It's like I got bit on that dock and I got bit on that dock, and like you go there and you pull up and you fish that dock and you don't get a bite, and it's like you fly to the next one where you had a bite, you shook off or whatever, try to catch that, don't get it, and it's like, well, you know, maybe it's not as sunny as it was the other day. Now they're just on these laydowns in between the docks.
Yeah.
Where if you just get in an area that you like and, you know, you've committed, you're going to fish in there, you fish it with more of an open mind. And like, you know, you might catch one on like a square bill just going down the bank versus, you know, trying to go back to every bite you had. And it just changes too much to like count on like exact spots. Especially down south, it seems like up north, a little more consistent, I think. But
Yeah.
You get on them reservoirs down south, those fish just get too much pressure to just
Smart.
Yeah. Yeah. Now
sit on one lay down for a week. You know what I mean?
they have an apartment there for
Yeah.
a week, sublet for a week. Seth, I want to make sure I say this in the right way, which is I've heard from other people, and I would even agree to this in a little bit, that you're a simple angler. And let me explain that.
Agreed.
There are guys that have the best electronics and they study maps and they have 50 rods on the deck and the latest techniques and these alterations. And to me, you're more of a natural fisherman, you know, just a more simple angler, like a dumbed down version of the best angler in the world. Would you agree with that? Would you agree with that analogy about you?
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of truth to that. I think you saw that this year with the AOI race. I'm not that old, but I feel like I'm kind of an old school fisherman versus, you know, Walters. He was kind of the guy I was duking it out with all year, you know.
Yeah.
He's got his head glued to the graph, staring at Panoptics 24/7, like chasing fish around. And like, I pretty much did all my work with, you know, a pair of sunglasses, a trolling motor, and a, you know, flipping stick. And I keep things simple. I don't.
There was multiple
all
times
that other
this year
stuff
when I
just
saw
gets in
Seth
my
fishing
head.
a spot
Yeah.
that he did good off of. Different tournaments where
Yeah.
I just said, "Oh my God, why didn't I fish that?"
Yeah.
It's not saying it's obvious, but like stuff that I knew or stuff that
Yeah.
they should have been on that he did really good off of that
Right.
I just never even looked at. So,
Right.
Yeah, a lot of visual stuff, you know, not a little rock or something I found with my side scan way out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Just like, you know, obvious stuff I've seen with my eyes, you know, running
I'm
down
with
the
you on
river.
That's
Oh,
how I
that
fish
looks
when we go
good.
down.
Like,
you gotta look at the bank. You gotta look at the angle of the bank. You gotta
Yeah.
look at the rock on the bank.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
stuff like that.
So you're not talking about like pre-tournament visualizations,
No, you're talking about
No,
what he sees on the riding down the
right? What? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Just not the other kind of visuals. You know, throwing 3 pompadours, that kind of visualizing where the fish may be or
oh
something.
no,
No,
that's
no,
probably
just
like Logan
fishing.
Martin or something.
It's different. Okay.
yeah, I mean, I think the trend now with all the technology, like everybody wants to fish offshore. Like, I feel like ledge fishing's about dead on the Tennessee River and stuff, just because everyone can find those fish so easy, and like the bank's becoming a lot less pressured. You know what I mean? There's always going to be fish on the bank, and as far as like keeping it simple, yeah, I don't have like, I think all that other stuff just makes it's more stuff to think about. You know what I mean? I got 3 colors of baits in my boat, and that's it. I'm not, oh, you gotta have this flake or this little strand of this. It's a white jig, a black and blue jig, and a green pumpkin jig. And
Yep.
like, that's it. Like,
Yep. Yep.
if the
Simplifying.
water's right for that color, you throw that. I mean,
Yeah.
just
Yeah. So it's possible then to overthink fishing, right, Seth? Like you can overthink stuff.
I think so. But then you see other guys, you know, like Aaron Martins. I mean, he's crazy, really. I mean, top 10 fishermen in the world, and he's like the opposite of that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's counting strands in his skirt, flakes in his worm and stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think that gives you some confidence if it's like, oh, I have this color and no one else has it. But for me, it doesn't work. It just confuses me. It's like, oh, I flipped green pumpkin blue flake in there. If I would have flipped green pumpkin green flake, I would have got a bite. Like,
Yeah.
no.
It is
Like-
true that you are picky about your plastics, though. You don't like bent plastics.
No, oh no, I hate bent
You don't mess
plastics.
with bent
That's-
plastic.
That's why I throw away so much stuff. It's ridiculous.
Let me remind everybody watching. We got a brand new Ike Live tonight. If you have any questions or comments, if you got questions for Seth, please hit us up. Riz is over here on the IMs, manning it. Riz, what you got for us right now? Yeah. Can't hear you. Hold on. Can't hear you. Bri.
C. Bartlett
Relax over there, Mike.
C. Bartlett wants to know, Seth, was there anything different you did this year as far as knowing when to put certain baits down and going back to what works really well for you? Like, was there a specific thing you did to keep yourself in your comfort zone while you were fishing?
Oh yeah, I just simplified my options. I didn't have anything on the deck that I wasn't super confident in. Didn't have anything in my boat that I wasn't. Like I said, I pretty much fished the whole year on a dozen baits, and the limit. I didn't have the options in the boat to do anything different. But as far as like picking up a rod at the right time, that just kind of comes with time on the water and just fishing the cover as it comes. Versus locking one thing in your hand.
And Anthony Geist wants to know, after your recent AOY win, have you been reached out to yet by Herbal Essences possibly for commercial time?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I got no shampoo deals. I don't know what's going on.
That's coming next, the shampoo deals.
Probably next.
Yeah.
And Wawa Hoagie Lady wants to know, does your hair need a perm or is it just so naturally luscious and flowing?
Oh, it needs a lot of work. It's pretty ratty back there.
Pretty randy.
I don't know. I get some dreadlocks, so I got that going every once in a while. But yeah, if you got long hair, you pretty much have to either wear a hood or a ponytail when you run, or you'll straight up have dreadlocks at the end of the day.
Dude, you look dope in dreadlocks.
Yeah, it would be cool. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can try it.
Yeah. Now I got to tell you, so Seth, Brian and I and Riz, the whole crew here, huge fans of Bass and the Elites, and we got to watch you all year, and we follow your social media. We got to watch that the whole year as you competed, and more than your success on the water, what made Brian and I more happy was your social media post throughout the year. That every day you had a decent day and you had to do it again tomorrow. I swear, like every time that would pop up, if me and Bri were together, we would just start smiling and you would make us happy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was your idea or if it was your wife's or if you have
It's
a
just-
genius social media coordinator. But thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for those amazing posts all year.
Keeping it simple, man.
Yeah, keeping it
No
simple.
problem. Yeah.
You had a lot of
That's just-
decent days. So.
Decent bag. Got to do it again tomorrow. See you out there, guys.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know what else to say.
It worked. It was great.
Oh, yeah, it works.
It made me super happy.
Do not change it.
Now, I bet you, I would say, did Seth have a camera guy in his boat more than anybody this year?
Everybody, like
More
every
than
day,
everybody.
every single day. He's like, "Oh, Seth got a camera guy."
Okay.
Had to have.
How many days you had DK this year?
I think it was like 19 days, I think.
Oh,
Wow.
That's impressive. That says something. I mean, leading AOI, catching him that good in the tournament to have a camera in
Yeah.
your boat, dude.
Yeah.
19 out of 36 days, pretty much.
Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty crazy. Now, was
That's a
EK
stat.
with you every time, or did you have different camera guys?
I pretty much had EK the whole time. One tournament, he was having some health issues, so I had another guy fill in. Actually, two different tournaments, I had a different guy, but I think one of them, because they don't like switching, if you get a guy that starts with EK and then
Yeah.
was with him the whole time. I think I had Jake one time and another guy
That's a good
like
sub.
the first tournament of the year. But yeah, Jake's awesome cameraman too.
Mhm.
EK's a lot of fun. I like Russ too.
Jake from State Farm, or
Jake Lynch, yes.
Jake from Colorado.
Dude,
Jake
have his
Latondres.
camera going right
Yeah.
here, his cell phone right here. GoPro off his foot.
Wow.
Straight up. While you're catching a bass.
Wow.
And posting it on his Instagram before you even realize what
Jake's
happened.
got the skills.
He's a game rooster.
Insane
He is
skills.
He's legit.
Yeah.
He is legit.
Insane skills.
Yeah. Now, Seth, I want to.
Did EK win cameraman of the year?
He should have.
That's what Richard Dick Duckett wants to know.
He's
I
not
don't-
ready.
I don't- I don't
He's
know
the
if there's a
AOI
word for
version of
that.
cameraman of the year.
He's not ready to eat for everyone.
He'll get you in trouble
They're
too.
getting you in trouble with the
will.
classic,
He will.
like you said.
That's who we should have called. We should have called Matt.
Why?
tonight.
Why would not call
Why
Matt?
do we not call Matt?
Like you said, Seth's still laughing over there.
Now, Seth, I know I've asked you this before, but I want to ask you this again. And remember, this is Ike Live. You got to tell the truth. That's the only rule in this whole show. When the whole MLF thing happened, you were very adamant about staying with Bass, and we actually, I remember, back when all that was going down, we had some honest conversations. I tried to shoot you straight, and you made a decision to stay at Bass. That was an amazing decision for you. Do you look back and have any regrets about not going over there at all, or is that not even a thought at this point?
No, absolutely not. Best decision I ever made in my life. Like, I couldn't imagine what
Yeah.
my life would be like if I would have made that. Like, I'd probably be in the opens just every day wondering why I made that terrible decision. Like the
Yeah.
opens are tough, man. Like, I want no part of that. Like, I know I had a good year this year, but like, there ain't no guarantees over there. It's 3 tournaments, and I mean, you have one bad day, you're done. It's like,
Dude,
I
I
want
have a hard enough
no
time
part of
catching
being
5
back
bass.
in the opens.
Yeah.
Seriously, I have a
It's
hard enough time
terrible.
catching 5 bass. When you tell me I gotta go catch 30 to do good over
Yeah.
there?
Or maybe 40.
40?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like, seriously, that's tough.
Yeah.
I feel
It's a
that.
different game.
It's
It's
a different
almost like a different game.
It is a different game. Yeah, it's a different game. Well, I can tell you, I think you made a great decision, Seth, with staying with Bass. And, the AOY title is something that not a lot of people have. It's very prestigious, and I can tell you the one thing it does, and this is another hard thing that you got to grasp. It's hard, which is this solidifies your place in professional bass fishing. When you were a kid, did you ever dream about winning an AOY or a classic? Was that ever a dream for you?
Yeah, more so a classic. I mean, that's kind of the one you always dream about winning. I never really thought much about winning AOI. I never really thought I was a caliber of angler to do it until, like maybe halfway through this year, it started to become a reality. But yeah, I think growing up, like, the dream was always to win the classic. That was always the big,
Yeah.
that's the only thing I ever envisioned,
Yeah.
as a little kid or whatever, grabbing that trophy and seeing the confetti fall and all that. But
Yeah.
the AOI is no doubt harder to win, in my opinion,
Yeah.
just because the classic's 3 days, you get on some good stuff, you can win it. But I kind of always dreamed more about classic wins than an AOI win. But yeah, no, super happy to have it. I mean, that's something you can never take away from me,
Yeah, well, it does solidify your place in bass fishing. I know it's going to change your career and life in the long term, but talk to us about the short term. Has anything changed in the short term for you and the family?
Yeah. I mean, I'm super busy the last couple weeks and stuff, but the sponsor game, like,
Yeah.
it got really good after that. I mean, I'd always kind of never really like asked for raises and kind of just let them do what they were going to do with me or whatever. But now I kind of got in the position where it was like, time to pay up, boys.
As it should be.
No doubt.
As it should be. And what a great time to ask for a raise. They've never sold more fucking fishing tackle
Ever.
than in the last 12 to 24 months. So they're making a lot of money. So it's a good time to ask for a raise. And you do a great job for all your sponsors, Seth. I got to tell you, you do a really good job.
Decent.
Decent job.
Decent.
Decent job.
Decent day. Got to do it again tomorrow.
You got to do it again more.
Decent year. Do it again.
There's one thing I want to point out, and I got to point this out because I think it's a success story. And whether you did it on purpose or not. I don't even care. But I want our viewers and listeners to know this, which is in this sport, having a brand is very important, right? It's very important to have a brand and separate yourself from the other millions of guys trying to do this. And you've created a brand that is very authentic to who you are because it is who you are, right? Your brand is you, and the best brands are real and authentic.
Right.
Is that something you worked on, Seth, or did you just say, look, this is fucking me, I'm doing what I do, and did the brand create itself, or did you plan all this out on paper years and years ago?
No, and actually I probably tried harder to like not be myself like the first couple of years, you know, trying to be your quintessential Southern bass pro. And, you know, kind of clean cut, doing everything the way you're supposed to do it or whatever, being the nice guy and whatnot. And, kind of just said, fuck it. I thought I was out, you know, before that whole Mille Lacs deal, like, I didn't think I was going to be fishing the Elite Series the next year. So, and then when I started being myself, it just kind of happened. It wasn't strategic or anything that went that way, but then, you know, it just kind of did its own thing. But I think, you know, the first 2 years I was going out of my way to not be myself, and that was probably the worst thing I could have done.
I can relate to that. I think a lot of people can, and I think it's great that, you know, you've developed into a brand that's authentic and who is actually you. I could actually pinpoint it. You want me to pinpoint it to a day where I felt like your brand stood out from everyone else? I'll pinpoint it to a day, a time, and a line that you said. And I can't remember the exact year, but I was fishing. Bass that year had a last chance tournament. And it was up on, you were doing commentating. Do you remember that, Seth? It was up in Minnesota.
Kagama. Yep.
And I was actually, I fished that event. Can't remember. I was trying to make something that year, classic or something. I can't remember. Yeah, and I was there, and it wasn't a day that I fished, but I was watching the commentary, and you were commentating, and you were just being yourself and being very authentic. This was all live, and you said, balls deep, live. Seth, at that very moment, I knew, to me, that was the moment that defined your brand, and I said, holy shit, this is all going to happen for Seth. And I mean, as you said it, I was like, it's all going to happen. You remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
I think Ish was like hooked one in the reeds or something. He was like digging up to his armpits to like get it. And then Mercer's like, if you had one hooked up and the classic was on the line, how deep? I mean, he set me up for it.
Yeah.
He's like, how deep would you go in the water? And there's only one answer to that. Yeah. Then ESPN called like 2 minutes later and informed us that you cannot say balls deep on
No?
That was awesome, man.
That was awesome.
That's awesome.
Hell
You should
yeah.
be able to say that on ESPN. There's nothing wrong with that.
Damn
I mean,
right.
sports
think so.
channel.
It's only natural.
Yeah. You could be talking about any kind of
Basketball
ball.
deep.
Yeah.
Basketball,
deep
golf
ball.
ball.
I mean, yeah, it's all about balls.
Yeah.
Same sports.
I'm with you on it.
Yeah.
I'm with you on it, Seth.
Yeah.
Had your back.
Yeah.
Good job,
appreciate
Seth.
I got a question from YouTube. Scott Easel wants to. What was it, Rich?
Scott Easel.
Scott Easel wants you to tell about your boy Matt Robertson's math skills and his amazing skills in his head.
He's like amazingly smart for how dumb he looks. Yeah, like crazy good at math. I remember one time he was like, I don't know, something was going on and he had to write an email, and I'm like, it was something important. It was about like a sponsor, and he's like, no, I'm a really good writer. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. And then he writes the email and read it back to me, and I'm like, it sounded like a college professor rather than like words I'm not like I would pay money, like I would bet money that he didn't know the definition to he was
But he
using
had
and
him in the
stuff.
right
Yeah,
context.
he's like sneaky smart for how dumb he sounds and looks.
No, Matt's smart.
Yeah,
Matt's legit.
yeah.
That's
Love that
funny. That's funny.
So is anybody checking his math, or is he just blurting out answers? But
I don't think everybody's too scared to second guess him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not smart
thinking.
enough.
Because I mean, if
like,
you come with
double check
confidence
it.
with something, you can.
He might
Yeah.
be selling it.
I mean, he's throwing out decimal points and stuff. I mean, you start rattling off that numbers,
That's
it
the great
sounds right to
equalizer.
me. Yeah.
Divided by pi,
All right, Seth, I'm checking the Instagram. We've got one coming through from Bob Ott. And Bob Ott wants to know, Seth, would you ever cut off your hair? And does your hair give you power?
Absolutely gives me power. Will never. I mean, I trim it, but it's always going to be long. Like,
Yeah.
And that kind of started with a weird superstition, like back in the just fishing the team stuff around the house. I always like buzz my head in the winter, and then just never cut my hair throughout the entire fishing season. It seemed like, kind of August, September, October, I'd start having better tournaments and stuff. So I always caught them better with long hair, and now I don't start short. I just keep it long the whole time. No mustache and no long hair. I won't catch anything. Yeah, double zeros.
Man, you gotta see now. I would be worried that like my competition would come into the hotel room or whatever at night, and you wake up with no hair. You wake up shaven. Maybe they'd
Yeah.
roofie you and then shave all the shit off. That would
Yeah.
be bad.
Speaking of shaving your head, is Travis Lejeune wants to know, is Mark Zona now your primary barber?
Oh,
No, Mark Zona's not allowed anywhere near my head. Ever. Yeah, I had a couple rough tournaments after he scalped me.
That's pretty bad.
So
That's pretty bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
like he didn't even do a good job.
No, it was horrible.
It took me like
Yeah.
Straight
2
up
hours
butcher
to
job.
clean it up. There'd just be like he like buzzed it, but like every inch there'd be like a full long hair. I had to like go back and trim. It was like,
Yeah, he pretty much
Yeah.
jackassed you. Remember Jackass? He'd run
Oh,
around with
yeah.
oh yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
the-
He's the worst hair cutter on planet Earth.
Seth, this is another question for me. A lot of times when you win something like this, like for me, it was when I won Angler of the Year Classic. You've accomplished these goals that you have. You say to yourself, "What's next?" And I'm sure a lot of people are asking that as well. What is next? What's next for you, and what are your goals now leading into the next season?
Same as always. I want to win a regular season elite event. I got 2, but they're both AOI tournaments, which are kind of BS tournaments. They're not the same deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd want to win a classic always, and then another AOI would be really, really cool. I mean, those are the goals now.
Yeah. Yeah. They're good. They're good goals. They're good goals. I am curious too. We talked a little earlier about you guys got to vote on whether the field gets lowered this year, whether it stays. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah. They're trying to cut the field down a little bit. I get their side of it. You get more exposure per angler with a smaller field, but 100 boats is not that many. I voted for 100. I just think with that many guys coming in from the opens, it's right around 13 or 15, something like that.
13.
To be down to like a 80 boat field with 13 new guys every year, I think you're better off at 100. You're going to get to a point where you're going to, people finishing outside of the top 50 are going to be on the chopping block in points. And that's really, it's not a good year, but it's not, it's not like you're 90 something getting cut. You know what I mean? I'd like to see the 100 boat field stay. Even at 100 boats, it's pretty rare that on the lakes we go to, I pull up somewhere and can't fish where I want to fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like 200 boats. That's definitely out of control. But 100's in a field. Every place we go is really big. And I'd like to, just if you're going to take that many guys in from the opens, I think you need to stay at 100. I understand like what they're trying to do, trying to get more exposure for the anglers going to a smaller field. But, I think 100 is plenty. There's definitely room for everybody there. And I think you still need to bring in that many guys from the opens, give people something to fish for there. Because there was talk that about too, maybe only a couple guys from each division getting in. And I don't think that's right.
Right.
So I'd like to see that many people keep coming in every year, but I think we need to stay at 100 in order to do that. Because you get down to 80, and then you got almost 15 guys coming in. After every 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
30 of them guys are going to be first year or second year guys, and then I mean, you could disappear really quick. I mean, if I started with, if there was only 80 boats when I started, I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Right. That's a good point.
Tough to requalify.
Yeah,
Too.
and I can tell you that the rule of business, and this is true on every business I've ever started, is you need 5 years to sort of get going. You know what I mean? So I
3 or
agree
4.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some guys kill it right away their first year, but there's a lot of guys you've seen that have been kind of mediocre their first couple of years, and then no offense, Caleb, but you're one of them too. You know, you didn't have a great first couple of years, but the last 2-3 years, I can, every year you're getting better and better and better.
Appreciate that, homie.
You're going to be shooting it out for an AOI in the next couple 2-3 years, no doubt about it.
He
Like,
sucks at shark
you can
fishing.
see the progression happening. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
get what you're saying, man. I appreciate that.
yeah.
Stick with bass.
All right, this is a good question for all three of you guys right now. I'm going to start with Lee, go to Caleb, then we'll end with Seth. Who is the guy to look out